Hello, Luvian friends. Let's talk about the 2023 Doctor Who Christmas special, The Church on Ruby Road, which was, of course, the first full episode for Shiri Katwa and the debut episode for Millie Gibson as the Doctor and Ruby Sunday. Now, for those curious, I did watch the Christmas special yesterday. I was just unable to review the episode yesterday with the rest of the Christmas activities. Plus, honestly, I needed to watch it a second time because there were things that happened in small scenes that I wasn't quite sure how to digest the first time. Like, did I get that right? So, this was one of the rare occasions where I felt like I needed to watch the episode twice before talking about it. So, this episode sees Ruby open up by being interviewed, or sorry, let me backtrack a second because I forgot the opening scene. The opening scene is just the doctor narrating, telling us that once upon a time there was a special child born on Christmas Day and left on the doorstep of a church on Ruby Road, and this is the story of that child. So then we flash forward to present day in December 2023, and we see that Ruby is being interviewed by Anita McCall, who, as an American, I had to look up the significance of this show, but apparently there is an actual show that she does that's all about this, about helping people find their birth parents when they have not been able to locate them by using DNA. And she is a bit of a UK legend. So that was pretty cool to see reality tied in to the Doctor Who universe with this storyline. So she's doing the interview with Anita McCall for this show and setting all that up. And while that's happening, they hear static on the headsets. They don't know where it's coming from, noises. And then a camera comes loose and almost knocks Ruby in the head. Then we meet Ruby's foster family, her mother and her grandmother, the Sundays, and we learn that her mother, who adopted her after fostering her, has also fostered 32 other children. So she's been the foster mother for 33 total kids, and Ruby's the only one who stayed with her. So they get a new baby child on Christmas Day once again, and Ruby's left in charge of his new baby child while her mother goes to the grocery to get gifts and get some other things that they need. And that's when we see the debut of the goblins, who come down and take the baby from Ruby, which leads to a second meeting between the Doctor and Ruby as the Doctor and Ruby first meet in the nightclub in the scene we saw in the trailer where the Doctor realizes there's something weird going on with this girl with all these freak accidents, and this is not just bad luck. But then they get their first full-on meeting as Ruby's able to discover that the baby Lulabelle is missing, and she chases the goblins up a ladder, and that's where she meets the Doctor, who introduces her to these gloves that he's created that put all of the force of Mavity, yes, they're continuing Mavity within Doctor Who, so it puts all the force of Mavity and all of the weights within the body into these gloves and makes it easier to hold on to stuff. And that will come into play later. So they make it up to the Goblin ship. They realize the Goblin King is there. We see the Goblin song that we all know by now from YouTube and the charts, but what we have not seen, what we did not see, is that song actually continues with Shooty and Millie as the Doctor and Ruby singing to the Goblin King to get the baby back, and the Doctor reverses the gloves and uses that effect to fall down the rope with the baby and Ruby. So then the baby's safe, and the Dodger and Ruby think everything is fine, but then there's a crack in the wall. Yes, the crack is back in Doctor Who. Nicely done by Russell T Davies, following back from his friend Stephen Moffat, although this is not the same crack in the universe, but it's the same concept, crack in the universe, and they discovered that that crack has led to Ruby being the one that was taken instead of Lulabelle. So the Dodger now has to go back in time and save Ruby, and before he does that, while they were trapped aboard the Goblin ship, they were having a conversation. The Dodger was dropping hints that he is a Time Lord, which will come into play later. Or, sorry, no, I guess he's not a Time Lord anymore, is he? The timey-wimey history nonsense, but time traveler. But anyway, he drops hints, and so that will come into play later. So the Doctor does his job of saving Ruby and putting her back in place by, again, utilizing the gloves and actually putting all of the weight of the Mavity and everything else, the weight of the ship itself, down upon the gloves. He's able to utilize that force to literally pull down and cause the steeple of the church to decapitate the Goblin King, and the goblins disappear. So timeline is restored. The Doctor then goes back and saves Anita McCall, who was also about to get hit in the head by a Christmas tree, falling Christmas tree, and killed. So then Ruby figures out what's going on, and she goes to the TARDIS for the first time, asks who the Doctor is, and that's how the episode ends. The other big thing from this episode was that Ruby has a neighbor who seems harmless, named Mrs. Fleck, and it turns out that Mrs. Fleck knows a lot more than she's let on, because she knows what the Doctor is. She knows what a TARDIS is. And the fourth wall is actually broken when she says, "What, you've never seen a TARDIS before?" So, all in all, this was a really good episode. Millie and Judy have great chemistry as Ruby and the Doctor. Loved everything about this episode. Thought it was a great way to introduce more of a fantastical nature, which is obviously going to continue now in Doctor Who. And yeah, just really don't have any complaints. I thought it was a beautifully done first episode and a good start to a new era for new fans, just as Rose was for a lot of us back in 2005 during Russell's first era. So, yeah, really enjoyed it. Still have plans to review the Daleks in color. Still have plans to do some other things now that I'm close to finishing the classic series. I've decided that I'm going to keep the vertical format because it's just easier for me to record with my phone right now. Once I get proper software and record with my computer again, I will record horizontally for other platforms. For those of you that like to watch on bigger screens, then redo the format for vertical. For those of you that like the vertical format as well. So don't worry about that. But plenty more for me to come with Doctor Who and some other things that I have in mind. So thank you all for your support. And yeah, let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below this episode. The Church on Ruby Road. Cannot wait for May for more. And I will talk to you all soon.